A very good morning, children. So, after the completion of the story of village Palampur for class 9, I am going to start the second chapter of the economics, people as resource. Student, as you know that what are resources, so in this chapter we in detail talk about that how the people can be used themselves as a best resource. In this chapter, an effort has been made to explain population as an asset for the economy rather than a liability. So, as you quite possible that so many times you have been listening that India is the second largest populous country, and we see the population is so high that the resources are not available for the country people. So here we are talking about that how a large number of population can be a resource or can be the asset, okay, for the country rather than a responsibility or a burden. We shall see how population becomes human capital when investment is made in the term of education and training, medical care, etc. That how if we spend our money on our kids to maintain their education, good quality education, to maintain their physical and mental health, and we give them some sort of training, then how these people, how these young generation or our kids can be very useful as a resource not only for their personal life but for the society as whole. We are going to read it in this chapter. It is a fact that human capital is the stock of skill and productive knowledge embodied in them. Underline that it is sure that if a human, including us, that if we are skillful, if we are knowledgeable, or we can produce something, produce in the sense that if we are earning something, then definitely we will be, you can say, self-sufficient, and we will not be economically burdened on our parents or on in our future life. We can do our expenses with our own amount of money. People as a resource is a way of referring to the working people of a country in terms of their existing productive skills and ability. When we are saying that people as a resource, it means we are talking about the people who are earning something. It doesn't matter less or great number. But if we are earning ourselves and we are able to day expend do our expenses with our own salary, then it means we are resource. Okay, so people only can be a resource if they are skillful and if they are earning something. Okay, they are called as a productive people of the nation. Now, considering at the population from this productive aspect emphasizes its ability to contribute the creation of gross national product. As if the people of a nation are so much productive, skillful, they enhances the country's gross national product and country's per capita income. Like any other resources, population is too a resource, a human resource. What is population? Population is a human resource. This is the positive side of a large number of population, and we have the example of China, that it is the first largest populous country in the world, but still they are economically developed and India is developing nation. So here the sense is that if we give our children and our present generation good quality education, their good mental health and physical health, and we make them skillful, whatever potential they are having, then definitely our country will be a developed nation one day. This is the positive side of a large population that is often overlooked when we see only the negative side. Yes, we only see the negative side of a large number of people, but we never see and we never think that if a large number of people can be changed into a productive population, then how the country will be. Now, that we only consider that the problems of providing the population with food, education and access to health facility. When the existing human resource is further developed by becoming more educated and healthy, it is termed as a human capital formation, which adds to the productive power of the country just as physical capital formation. Now they are saying that if we convert our human as a good productive and healthy people, then they automatically converted as a human capital formation, and which results into a productive power for whole country, and it comes under the physical capital formation. Investment in human capital through education, training, medical care. How we can invest our money on our upcoming generation or on human capital? We provide them quality and good education. We send our kids to the training programs to make them trained in particular stream. Then we also look after their medical health, mental and physical health. Yields are return almost similar as investment in physical capital, and it is a not it is very beneficial that at first time though parents have to spend money on kids on their quality education, training and medical health, but after that when they become skillful, when they will become a healthy citizen, then they earn so much of wealth, and then it gives a long term return to the parents or to the elder one. This can be observed directly in the form of higher incomes earned due to the higher productivity of the more educated or the person who are better trained, as well as the higher productivity of healthier people. Now you can see this illustration. There are two kids. What is human resource? The girl is asking to the boy that what is human resource? Is it like land or labor? She is asking. Now he said it is a more than that, and he is right. When a girl asked that what is human resource, it means she is talking about the human and the people, and she further asked, is it like land or labor? As we know, land is the first utmost important resource, and then labor. Now he replied, no, it is more than that. What is human capital? Is it like rupee, paise or dollar? Then the boy answered, it is more than that. In the both case, the boy is correct, because when we need, yes, it is correct that we need land for agriculture, but again, if there is no human, then who will do the agriculture on this land? Who are they labor? The labor are the human being. That's why human, you and me. Remember, you and me are the utmost important resource who use all the other resources. Then next, when she asked to the boy, what is human capital? It is like rupee or paise or dollar. Then he replied, no, it is more than that. Yes, when we invest money on good quality education, health and nutritious food on our children, then definitely one day they will be a healthy citizen. The diseases will not catch them, and they will be trained to make their life quality and give their life good economic condition. So in this way, as a whole, human is the best resource who use all the resources, and we cannot ignore their health, physical and mental both, and their quality education. Okay, next, economic activities by man. Okay, then when we say human as a resource, then what is meant by that how they earn money? What are the economic activities which usually men do and women do? Now there are many people who like, okay, there are many people. Yes, next, the more educated, yeah, see the photograph and try to explain how a doctor, teacher, engineer and a tailor are an asset to the economy. Yes, we are talking, we here the different professional has been given. One is a doctor, second is a teacher, third one is a mechanic, and then tailor. Are they all are important for the society? Yes, definitely they all are, because we need all the people time to time in our life. Now, yes, the more educated and the healthier people gain through higher incomes. Just like them, society too gains in other indirect ways, because the advantages of a more educated or healthier population spreads to these also who themselves were not directly educated or given health care. It is a fact that human capital is in one way superior to the resources like land and physical capital. It is because human resource can make use of land and capital, as I told you that it is the human. Okay, money is important. We need money for our survival. But if we will not look after our health, then one day who will earn money? Because if we will suffer from one disease, any disease, then nobody can help us first of all we have to maintain our physical and mental health, then we should do other work, because we are so important. We are the topmost resource. Who? We, human, and I am talking about the people. And after that, land and capital comes. Now, for several decades, a large population of India has been considered a liability and not as an asset. Even today, for so many years, beta, in India, large population seems as a burden on the nation. Can you give me the reason? Yes, because there is poverty in our country, and that's why the parents cannot afford the quality education and good nutritious food to the children, and even they were suffering from epidemic and very dangerous diseases, but they are not having the money to give them proper medical treatment. And why it is so? Because their parents are not so much good skillful people, and they are not having quality education so that they can do some sort of job and they can earn something. This is the reason behind that. That's why they are not a productive human capital. But it is must be kept in mind that a large population need to be a liability. It can be transformed into a productive asset by an investment in human capital. For instance, by investing resources on education and health for all, training of industrial and agriculture workers in the use of modern technology, useful scientific researches, and so on. Okay, but we can change all these people to give them some sort of training so that they can earn something, and they can use themselves as a resource, and they can earn to make their livelihood better. The two following cases illustrate how people can try to become a more productive resources. Now there are a story of two men. One is Sakal and the other is Vilas, and they belong to the same area. Now through these two men we will come to know that how we can differentiate a human as a productive asset and a human is a burden on the country. The story of Sakal. Vilas and Sakal were friends and both were resident of the same village. Okay, Simapur. Now, Sakal was a 15 years old boy. His father's name was Bhuta Chaudhary, who worked in an agriculture field. His mother, Sheila, looked after domestic chores. Sakal always helped his mother in domestic chores. He also took care of his younger brother, Jitu and Situ. Okay, Sham was his uncle. Though he had passed the matriculation examination, he did not get a job and so was sitting idle in the house. Now you can see that how big family of Sakal, and how after passing the matriculation he was not getting job and then he sit idle at house. It means he is not continuing his further education. Bhuta and Sheila were very eager to get their son Sakal education. They forced him to join the village school, which he soon joined. He began studying and finished his higher secondary examination. But after the force, the Bhuta and Sheila force him. That's why he continued his education and he passed his higher secondary also. Now he even took a loan for Sakal to study vocational courses in computer. Sakal was a brilliant student. He was interested in study from beginning. So with great vigor and enthusiasm he finished his course. After some time he began working in a private firm. He even designed a new kind of software. The software helped him enhance the sale of the firm. His boss acknowledged his talent and rewarded him with a promotion. So it is a story of Sakal, that how his father and mother decided, even they belong to a poor family, but they decided to spend money on the education and training of Sakal. And one day he, who was only 10th pass, he passed the 12th class, then he do the professional computer course, and then he also developed, as he was an intelligent and hardworking guy, so he then promoted by his boss also. So here the story of Sakal indicates that how the person can be an asset and can be a productive human resource after his hard work and the further quality education and some sort of training. Now we will continue the same village story of another boy. Now The another story of Vilas. Vilas was a 14-year-old boy. He too was a native of the same village as Sakal. His father, Mahesh, was a fisherman. His father passed away when he was only 2 years old. His mother name was Geeta. She used to sell fish to earn money to feed the family. She used to buy fish from the pond and landowner and used to go to nearby mandi to sell it. She could manage to earn only rupee 10, 20 to 30 a day by selling fish. Vilas became a patient of arthritis. His mother could not afford to take him to the doctor. He could not go to the school either. He had no interest in study, but he helped his mother in cooking. He also took care of his younger brother Mohan. And after same time his mother fell sick and there was no one to look after or to take care of her. Also, there was no one in the family who could support them. Vilas too was forced to sell fish in the same village. He, like his mother, he earned two did meager income. Now you can see what a pathetic condition of the Vilas family, that he suffered from the disease. His mother get only 20 to 30 rupees in a day after selling the fish, and he was also not doing anything and getting education or anything, and that's why when her mother became sick, then he has to sell the fish like her mother and get only 20 to 30 rupees. So now you can compare what we are focusing human as an asset, human as an productive resource in a nation. So here thousands and millions of the people like Sakal, and more than Sakal we have, our country have the people like Vilas, okay, who has no money, no education, no training. That's why they are a burden on the country. That's why in India it has a challenge to call the second largest populous country, and while in China, after becoming the first largest populous country, still it ranks highest economy in the world, because they have converted their people as an asset, as an productive human capital. So this is the difference, student, that if we work hard in our life, if we do extra effort, always remember, if we do extra effort in anything, don't think to win anything or to lose. It is a process that sometime we win, most of time we lose. But remember, if you are doing hard work, one day you will be blessed whatever you want in your life. Okay, so always remember that you have to transform yourself as a resource, as an asset, as a productive human capital, so that the people will chase you and they will give you whatever you want in your life. But first of all, you have to convert yourself as a productive human capital, rather than just like to be follow the case of Vilas. Now in the two case study, we saw Sakal was eager to study and went to school, but Vilas did not show any interest in study and did not go to any school. Sakal was physically strong and healthy. There was no need for him to visit to the doctor frequently. On the other hand, Vilas was patient of arthritis. He did not have the enough money to visit the doctor. Sakal acquired a degree in computer programming and on the basis got a job in private firm, while Vilas continued with the same work as his mother. He earned a meager income like his mother to support the family. In the case of Sakal, several years of education added to the quality of labor. Yes, due to this, his total productivity got an enhancement. Okay, yes. So remember that if you are studying this time and you are doing training and you are doing anything good in your life, it doesn't matter that maybe at present you will not get the proper result, but one day you will get extra result for your hard work. Now, total productive add to the growth of the economy like the Sakal. In turn, this pays an individual through salary or in some other form of choice. On the other hand, Vilas did not receive any education or health care in the early part of his life. He spent his life selling fish like her mother. Henceforth, he earned the same income unlike the labor as his mother. Okay, now investment in human resource through education and medical care can give higher rates of return in the future. If if at present your parents are giving you nutritious food, they are giving you everything which you want in your life so that you can get good academic life, and one day definitely you will, if you do the hard work above them, that if you are doing the hard work, then definitely you will be something in your life, and your parent also feel proud of you, and you will also be an asset to the country. This investment in human resource is the same as investment in land and capital. A person invests in shares and bonds on expectation that he would get higher return in the future. Now, a child can yield a high return in the future in the form of higher earnings and greater contribution of society to the society if investment are made on her education and health. It has been observed that educated parents invest more heavily on the education of the children. This is because they have realized the importance and value of education for themselves. Yes, and it is very easy that we see that if the parents are educated properly, and then they know the importance of education, and they are strict to their children that they have to be disciplined and they have to follow the proper studying manner, so that because they know that what is the importance of study. Okay, such as parents are also conscious for proper nutritious and hygiene, they accordingly take care of their children's requirement for education at school and good health also. Thus in this case a virtuous cycle is formed. In contrast, disadvantaged parents who themselves are uneducated and lacking in the hygiene keep their children in a similarly disadvantaged state, and this creates a vicious cycle like the story of Vilas. Okay, now there are several countries like Japan which have invested in human resource. These countries did not have any natural resources. Can't you imagine that these countries did not have any natural resources, but these countries are developed, rich countries. They import the natural resources required in their country. Then how did they become rich and developed? These countries have invested in human resources, especially in the area of education and health. Okay, these people have made efficient use of resources such as land and capital. Efficiency and the technology evolved by people have made this country rich and developed. And you can see that how the Indian market is flooded with the Chinese item. It means they are technologically so advanced that they are giving the same thing in less amount of money if we compare the product with the Indian company. Okay, that's why the people used to, they are forced, because if they are getting the same features of a thing in 16,000 rupee cell phone, then why they will purchase the same feature for more amount of money? This is the talent of the China, that they are investing in technology and in human capital. Now, economic activities by men and women. Okay, that what are the economic activity which used to done by the men and women to earn something? There are many people who like Vilas and Sakal, as I told you, have been engaged in different activities. We have studied Vilas used to sell fish and Sakal got a job in the farm. All these different activities have been classified into three main sectors: primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. Agriculture, forestry, animal husbandry, fishing, pottery, farming, mining and quarrying are included in the primary sector. Okay, so these are things the example of primary sector. The secondary sector is considered with manufacturing. The tertiary sector includes the trades, transport, communication, banking, education, health, tourism, services, insurance, etc. Production of goods and services are the result of the activities of this sector. These activities add value to the national income. These activities are called economic activities. Economic activity, beta, the activity by which we earn something in terms of money, are known as economic activity. Various economic activities are also termed as market activity. Market activities involve remuneration to anyone who perform, that is, activity performed for pay or profit. Production of goods or services including government services is included in these activities. The production for self-consumption are non-market activity. These can be consumption and processing of primary product and own account production of fixed assets. Now, there is a division of labor between men and women in the family due to historical and cultural reason. Yes, women generally take care of the domestic chores while men work in the field. Mother of Sakal Sheila cooked food, cleans utensils, washes clothes, clean the houses and take care of the children. Father of Sakal and Bhuta cultivates the field, sells the produce in the market and earn money for the family. No salary or payment is given to Sheila for the service delivered for upbringing of the family. Yes, if our mother or if the woman is not a working woman, then you know that how much work a woman used to do in the family for lifetime. But still nobody appreciate her and nobody gave any types of sum of money to her. Okay, that's why working for women is very important to maintain self-esteem and self-respect. Bhuta earns money which he spends on rearing his family. No payment is made up to women for their service rendered in the family. The house's work done by women has no recognition in national income. Okay, so if the women is not a working woman, that nobody count their work in any way, and there is plenty of work at home. Now, mother of Vilas, Geeta earned an income by selling fish. Thus, women are paid for their work when they enter the labor market. Their earning, like that of their male counterpart, is determined on the basis of education and skill. Education generally greatly helps individual to make better use of economic opportunities available before him. The major determinants of earning of any individual in the market include education and skill. Are you getting the point that if we are skillful, if we are trained, and if we are educated, then definitely we will earn more and more in our life. Most of the women have meager education and low skill information. Okay, that's why they are not earning which they are expecting, because they are not trained. They are paid in low comparison to men. Most women work at places where job security is not there. Numerous activities pertaining to legal protection is meagre. Employment is a sector is characterized by the irregular and low income. In this sector, there is an absence of basic facilities such as maternity leave, child care, and the social security system. However, higher educated women are and who have skill formation are paid at par with men. Among the organized sector, they are attracted mostly towards teaching and medicine. Some women have entered in the administrative and other services, including those which require high levels of scientific and technological services. Ask your sister of your classmate what she is planning to take up as a career. So, student, it is all about that. I hope you understood that what is the importance of study or training in our life if we want to be an asset for a nation, or if we want to be a burden on our parents or on our society. That you have to decide it now. It is totally up to you. Till then, take care. Goodbye.